welcome to the On Demand Series 3. What we are covering this time round is you've got a choice. You can reopen to comply with the regulations that have now been put in place with COVID, or you can reopen to trade successfully. And what we're going to try and do is actually explore a whole range of reasons or a whole range of opportunities for you to reopen and trading successfully. So to make those the compliances something that you can actually utilize within your business, change your business model so you remain successful. So creating trust and or recreating trust that was devastated during the course of the COVID-19 lockdown. We were disconnected immediately from our customers, and this is all about how do we recreate that trust, how do we reconnect with those customers, and how do we cut through the white noise of everybody trying to do the same thing. So as with each of the on-demand series, we are looking at the 3 steps to open the economy and remove those constraints. And with that, what we can do as businesses is we can become quite elastic or agile, and we reopen as the restrictions are removed or relaxed. And then we still need to be quite prepared to close again or step back into some form of tighter restrictions. So that's why we always go with the 3-step approach that's been handed down by federal government. So it gives us a really clear pathway to use. What are we focusing on? And with each of the seminars or the on-demand series, we're looking at all of these various different components because there is shifts everywhere. So we're looking at the shifts in restrictions, safety, regulation, technology, industry dynamics, and human behaviour. What we focus on during the course of this low touch economy webinars is all about the human touch and the human behaviour changes. Those changes are what's driving the business to respond, or the need for a business to respond quite specifically. So our focus is always on human behaviour. So first of all, doubling down on creating trust. So uncertainty makes everyone, especially customers, nervous. Ask yourself, how can my business help ease this anxiety? So as a traffic manager sometimes, and with my past life as event manager, I've always had some level of my traffic management ticket. And I was at an accident not long ago where, because I was first on scene, not in a professional capacity, just driving past, I grabbed my high-vis and I started to try and direct the traffic around the accident to stop the congestion. And I recruited another gentleman who was also in high-vis, and that's why I recruited him, because he had high-vis on. And I got him to stand up the other side. And I said, as I let my traffic through, you stop your traffic. And as you let yours through, I'll stop mine. But I said, we need to be really proactive and keep an eye on each other the whole time. He went, yep, got it, no problem. Went down his end. So I allowed my traffic through, and then I stopped my traffic. Now, he wasn't watching me, so he didn't let it through. And then he dropped his hand. But what he didn't do is he didn't take control of the situation and actually clearly give direction to the cars as they came towards him. So those cars didn't know whether or not they were allowed to drive through. They didn't know what speed they needed to do, and what was happening was congestion and confusion. On my side, I didn't have any congestion or confusion because I was really clear with my signalling. So, as I stopped the cars, I held my hand out quite strong as a stop, and as I was moving them through, I actively waved them through so they knew that they were just taking direction from me and they were able to drive through, and that stopped the congestion. Now, that's just a really simple analogy of if you take control of a situation and help people, they become a lot more confident in what you're doing and what you're delivering. And so therefore then, you will be a little bit more successful, because people are actually looking for direction. So in this instance, when we're open, we need to give that direction. So you can open up to be transparent. We're all figuring this out together. Tell your customers the precautions you are taking to ensure their safety and the safety of your employees. So everybody's seen the warnings and all of the different signs for COVID-19, like if you've got a fever or you're coughing, don't come in, or stay at home, cough into your elbow, and if you've got a sore throat and all those things, know the signs. So we've all seen those signs out everywhere. That's not That's compliance. That's not reopening to trade successfully. Here's some other things that we're starting to see more and more, and as businesses open up, we're seeing the arrows on the ground, and also boxes in which we're allowed to stand in, crosses and circles that are helping us with the social distancing. Now what that is also doing is opening to comply, and here's the crosses. So what's happening in this particular aisle here is there's 2 crosses leading up to the cashier. Now if anybody actually wants to browse in that aisle, they can't. So if there's 1 or 2 persons in that line, they cannot. So they've actually stopped people being able to shop in those aisles just by trying to comply. Whereas if they opened to trade successfully, they would see that issue and they would move those crosses to somewhere else, or they would start rearranging their store to cater for that traffic flow. There's been a couple of creative open to trade successfully opportunities out there, and this is one in a Chinese school where they took advantage of what type of hat do you want to wear. So you can see some king's hats there, there's a unicorn hat, and there's a couple of cowboy hats in there as well. So the kids made their hats and then put their propellers out to help them distance or start understanding that personal space that's required and teach them in that way. So that was a really proactive, fun way of doing it with the kids. And again, this is still proactive and fun. So these are the little cubicles so that you can still have your dining experience. You're safe from other diners. It's not like you need to, always try and be wary of staying away from various different other customers in that shop. In this instance, they've catered for the customer and they've changed their business model to adapt to the new restrictions, so they're opening to trade successfully. I walked into a store yesterday. It was quite a small store. She hasn't changed her layout. It was a great little fashion shop, a little boutique one. I'll never go back there because it was somewhere where we don't normally go. And as I walked in, there was 2 people on one side of the aisle and then the shop assistant on the other side of the aisle. As I walked in, I could clearly felt immediately that there was one too many people in that shop now. I couldn't go up either aisle. The shop assistant wasn't intuitive enough to actually move away from that aisle to allow me through. So I turned around and left because I couldn't actually be in that shop because the shop was too small, there was too much stock there, and she hadn't changed either her behaviour or her store layout to trade successfully. She was still remaining compliant, and in the actual fact she wasn't even being compliant. There was 1 star on the floor, 1.5 meters away from the cash register. There was no limit of people written on the outside, so I couldn't even determine whether or not I needed to line up or not, and so therefore then she was literally opening to comply with the minimum of restriction. So the other thing to look at is to make it personal. A human-first approach will allow you to show empathy and understanding for the customers you service and the challenges they are facing during this crisis. We all feel it as customers, but we also feel it as business owners. So demonstrate your brand is more than just a corporate logo by putting people and employees that are working behind the scenes at the forefront of the conversation and messages. So gone are the days where we had all the cubicles of workers, but we can bring things in that actually, instead of making us as humans or customers feel unwelcome in that store or unwelcome or unable to identify whether or not what we're about to do is safe, we tell them up front. So this is from Hertz, and it's got a gold standard clean sticker across the door. So, and we see this is straight out of the toilets from motels where they've got the clean seal across the toilet. So this is exactly the same method, but they're using it across the car. So as you're approaching the car, you say, oh, okay, it's been cleaned. I feel really safe and secure. Thank you. And so you're actually attributing far more empathy to that brand than just, walking up going, oh, yeah, I hope it's been cleaned. I hope this has happened. So be open and transparent. Tell your customers, start communicating clearly through signalling what you are doing to help support those customers. And here's a movie theatre showing you where you can and can't sit. This also allows you as the customer to start making your own decisions and self-disciplining. The other thing to watch is fake news. So manage the spread of fake news. Previously, you might have tended to shy away from getting involved in conspiracies impacting your business on social media. But with all of the misinformation being spread online, it may be time to reconsider that strategy. Your customers are looking to understand what is truly happening in your business and the truth behind conflicting news floating around. Be clear about what your intentions and why you've made certain decisions. So, if I look at that as a patient, a potential dentist patient, and I see that in the room, I'd be like, you know what, I'm actually claustrophobic enough when I have somebody sitting in my mouth and hovering over the top of me. I'm pretty sure that's going to make it worse for me. So although that may be a compliance product, a new compliance product that is being designed to protect both the dentist and the patient, it hasn't actually been designed with the person in mind. So, as we move forward with this, the various different pieces of information that are being put out around your business, as a dentist, you can start saying that, we actually wear the face mask to protect both the client and the patient, and we're increasing the level of compliance around those masks. So therefore, then we actually don't need plastic between us and the customer or the patient to protect both. We use gloves, we do this, we disinfect the room, have a seal across the table, the seat before you sit down. So really start talking out loud what you are doing to start creating confidence from your customers. And here's another one. We're seeing a lot of the perspex around, and there's a lot of what I classify as hygiene theatrics or compliance theatrics. So to me, this table and the plastic around that table is clearly demonstrating that the table is very, very safe. However, the individuals sitting on the outside of that table have got a hard surface in front of them and two hard surfaces either side. I don't know how often they're cleaned, and I actually think what's happening is it's keeping the table safe, but increasing the vulnerability of the customers. So although this may look spectacular on a functionality level, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And so therefore then if you start communicating really clearly and out loud what your compliance to trade successfully story is, as opposed to just putting up compliance, you'll start being able to break down those that fake news. So thank you for this morning. Each of these sessions in number 3, Navigating the Aftershocks, is all about increasing this trust, which was today. The next one is Test New Growth Areas, and number 3 is USP. What is your new unique selling proposition? So each of these sessions are around about 10 minutes. Thank you for your time, and I hope you get more out of it.